What's going on, Tackle Warehouse fans? Thanksgiving is just around the corner. We got Black Friday deals going on right now. It's cooling off. This is actually a really good time to get out on the water and chase after big ones. But let's get right into it. So we got a whole new series of rods from Star Rods. So Star Rods has come up with this entire new series. It's called the Freshwater American Spirit Series. So what they've done is they've actually partnered with a few small batch distilleries to do a partnership rod with some of these distillers, which is really cool. And they've got all these different series of rods. So this first one here is that Pursuit United Bourbon. It matches up with this bourbon right here. They've got a couple that are matched up with the Call family distilleries, and they have the Uncharted Sour Mash Moonshine, and then the Reverend Sour Mash Whiskey. So one of these rods correlates with each of these small batch distillers, which is cool. You know, they're partnering with those guys that put a lot of work into their product, and Star Rods does the exact same thing with the rods that they make. So they've got a couple different models here. This one here, this Uncatchable. It's kind of got an EVA handle and then a small cork up at the top. But what I like about these rods is they've kind of done this like old school style wrapping on them. Really cool design. And then if you're more into a full cork, we got the Reverend right here, full cork handle. Another thing that they've done with this whole series of rods, which is really cool, is they've actually got power rings down here on the butt section. So each power of rod has got a different number of rings assigned to it. So it's way easier to look down on your deck and identify what power of rods you're looking for. And on the Pursuit rod, this one's way unique because it's kind of an all carbon construction. And what I really like about this one is the way they did this handle, this unique molded carbon handle on here. It just fits right into your hand, and it is super, super comfortable. All black, and then it's got some kind of gray and orange wrapping on here. Really cool series of rods that they've partnered with these small batch distillers. And there should be a few more of these series to come here in the future. Now, let's jump into some Tackle Warehouse exclusive stuff. So, Berkley has been an awesome partner of ours for many, many years, and they've let us do a couple new TW exclusives. So in the Coal Shad, in the 6-inch and the 8-inch, we have a new Tackle Warehouse exclusive color. This one is called Hickory Shad, and it really just captures that gizzard shad look to it, or just any kind of big bait fish. But really cool, a lot of scales on it, a lot of silver down here in the belly, and a little bit of iridescent purple down the side. A couple of colors that they've also done for us. So this is in the Crash Craw, is we now have it in the Hot Craw, and then PB&J is one that we specially requested. And if you haven't tried this bait out, you are missing out. I'm telling you what, this is such a phenomenal flipping bait, but it's also really good on the back of a jig, and then one of my favorites on a wobble head as well. Just a really, really cool bait in a couple colors that we wanted that Berkley made them for us. The last couple, so in the Berkley Dime, we got the Ghost Special Red Craw. So it's kind of a take on the Ghost Red Craw they already make, but the regular Ghost Craw has got that yellow on the belly like this one right here, but we kind of went with that orange color. It has more of that spring craw kind of look to it that we really like, and we love that shape and that running depth from Berkley, and we really wanted that color in that bait. And another one is that we actually got the Ghost Red Craw in the Fritz Side 5. So they didn't make this color. They make this color in many other baits, but they didn't make it in the regular Fritz Side 5, the silent model. Or it's got just that little tiny clicker. It's not the full-on clicker model. But the Fritz Side 5 in that Ghost Red Craw, just that nice ghost color. We've used this a lot in our reservoirs out here on the West Coast, and something that works, you know, across the entire country. But phenomenal color in the Fritz Side 5. The last one, the last TW exclusive we got from Berkley. This is the Crit Craw. Now, I got to see this thing quite a while ago, and I'm just been super pumped and waiting for this thing to actually come in and actually get to use it. I got a trip coming in a couple weeks, and I'm for sure using this little one right here. So Berkley wanted to have a hyper-realistic craw shape in their lineup, and they absolutely nailed this one. So this is a John Cox design, and John Cox has been secretly using this as a bed bait and a flipping bait over the last years, and he's caught a ton of fish on it. And our guys are about to go out and film a vlog with him and do a bunch of damage in Florida with this bait as well. So it's a hyper-realistic craw bait, but it's got these little flanges on the claws, so it's actually going to kick and have a super aggressive kicking action. It's got a hook slot right there on the belly, so plenty of hook penetration, no problem setting the hook with a big heavy flipping hook, or if you want to thread this onto a shaky head or something like that, that's actually what I'm going to do with it. A couple things you can customize this thing. I might actually cut the flanges off. We get into that cold water and put this on a shaky head just so it doesn't kick a lot and just kind of tone down the action. But man, highly realistic. And then of course made out of power bait formula. And now I'm going to be fully power baited up for the rest of this video. Let's move on to some really small stuff here. So we got a whole new brand in called, it's called EuroTackle. So EuroTackle has got tons of stuff. They've got some full-size baits as well, but I really wanted to show off some of the BFS stuff they got. This tiny little swim bait they got, this is the 2-inch size. They make a bigger one, a 3-inch. And then they got the micro metacraw. I mean, tiny, tiny little bait. You're gonna need to find a tiny little worm hook for this, or you can put it on, any of those tiny little micro jig heads. They actually make jig heads that match up with this stuff. So if you're looking for a micro jig head to fish on these baits, they've got the jig heads for you. And then they've also got a bunch of hard baits. So a couple of them we wanted to highlight. We got the Z cranker. So nice round body. It actually rolls and flashes a lot with that little bill on there. I think it'll get you about 3 to 5 feet. For a tiny little crankbait, that's really, really good. And then they got little Z popper, so tiny micro size popper if you're looking for something that small. And then this thing, I don't think I've ever seen a lipless crank this big. We got this Z Viber lipless crankbait. That is, I think it's a 1/16 of an ounce. Tiny, tiny little bait. I don't know what I'm gonna do to try to cast this thing. I'm barely getting my first BFS set up, and I don't think I have the skills to throw this one just yet. But instead of a couple treble hooks on the back, it's actually got one little single hook on the back. So, I mean, these baits are so small. You have to put tiny little hooks on them, and I think just having that one little single on there is gonna help you, hook and land a few more of those fish versus 2. I don't even know what size trebles you would have to put on this bait. 2, number 20s. I don't know how small you'd have to put on there, but tiny little stuff. If you're looking for new BFS gear, check out EuroTackle. They have a bunch of new gear. It's all great stuff for bait finesse fishing. So the next one here is from Lucky Craft. So these are, I guess these aren't new, but they're new to Tackle Warehouse. These are the Wander baits. So I believe this one is the 110 size. And then we also have a 95, and then there's even a small one as well, a smaller one than this. But I know our guys out there at our Alpharetta warehouse are gonna be sad that we're even talking about this. This bait is the deal at some of those blueback herring lakes out there on the East Coast, where the big spotted bass chase around blueback herring. They've been buying these things before. We've had them for a long time, and they say they catch a ton of fish on them. So I'm interested to try one out myself. So just feeling one, they are really heavy. So it's a heavy bait. So I know they cast a mile. So they cast a mile and they sink. So it's a sinking bait, and you twitch it. It's a twitch bait, so it'll dart side to side, up and down, all over the place. But I've even seen some anglers using them kind of like a top water, and they work them really fast, and you can keep it right up on the surface, and it kind of splashes and wakes right under the surface. And I've even seen people just straight wind them, either on the surface like a wake bait, or below the surface, and it'll kind of hunt side to side. So a bunch of different things you can do with these baits, and since it is so heavy, if you're in those blueback herring lakes and the fish come up schooling and you need something heavy that you can bomb out to those fish and make it to them, that's gonna be the one you're probably gonna wanna have on the deck just to be able to get that a little bit extra casting distance to make it to those schooling fish, because they come up and down so quickly and you need to get there when it's happening. So our buddy Val over at Gambler's got a couple new jig heads. So this is, all these jig heads are gonna be kind of geared towards live scope fishing, forward facing sonar. So these are the live rocker heads. So they got one that's plain and then one with eyes on it. But with that lead that's poured up over the eyelet and kind of how they've weighted these jig heads, it just made to enhance that rolling action that everyone's looking for. So with all of your straight tail style minnows, all your little minnow baits that you're trying to twitch along and everyone's trying to get that side to side rolling action, these jig heads will help enhance that action and make it a lot easier. So we got those 2 heads, and then we've also got the heavy wire hover hook. So he's had the hover hook for a while, but now a heavier wire, as the name implies, heavier wire hook. So, so if you want to use a little bit heavier tackle, a little bit heavier, heavier rod setup, or if you're fishing around maybe some heavier cover, brush, and grass, and you just want to be able to hook fish and pull them away from that stuff a little, and have a little bit more power than some of the other hover hooks on the market, now there's a heavy wire model for you. And the last one is the headless jig. So Valak Gambler Lures made this headless jig to go inside of their hollow body minnow, which is a really cool forward-facing sonar bait if you haven't checked it out. It's a hollow body minnow with a straight tail on it, and that thing has crazy rolling action side to side. And now they've got a jig head that will fit exactly inside that bait. But this is one of the smaller models that they have. They actually have up to a 7/0 with either a 3/4 or 1 ounce lead on it. So they have a really big model that you can put it on those, 6, 7-inch hollow body baits and get it inside the bait to enhance that action. But also it's tucked in there and it's not a big giant lead head out in front of your hollow body swim bait. So I'm super stoked to try that out. It doesn't seem like that long ago when the craze for 6 and 7-inch hollow body swim baits was going on. And now we have something that is kind of suited exactly for those and just make those even better swim baits than they already are. And last up, so we got the new Penn Battle 4 from Penn Battle 4 spinning reel. So this thing is built like an absolute tank. We got them in, I believe, 1,000 up to 5,000. Penn makes much bigger ones than that. But one of the upgrades they made to this system is their HyperShield technology. So basically around the body, the frame, the arm here, they've got a series of rubber gaskets that are gonna just completely keep that salt water out of all your important internal components, which is huge. So like I said, this thing's built like a tank. It's made to fish in harsh saltwater environments and be able to last you, many years. So without that salt water getting in there, this thing's gonna last a lot longer. It's a full metal body and rotor on here, and they got their drag system on here. It's got a ton of power. So if you're looking for something that maybe do a little freshwater fishing, but maybe you want to go, fish for catfish and stuff. You want to go into the Gulf and fish for redfish. You want a reel that can kind of do it all and have the power to withstand those conditions and be able to fight big fish. This is gonna be one you want to check out. And we also have combos with this reel on it. And one of the combos we have, I believe we have an 8-footer two-piece that is rated up to like 2 or 3 ounces. So like a heavy action two-piece 8-foot rod that you can definitely use for a ton of applications. It comes with a 5,000 size reel on it. And the 4,000, they actually have a high-speed model as well if you're looking for something that's just gonna pick up a little bit more line. But like everything that Penn makes, it's built quality and it's built to last you. So if you're looking for something that's gonna last you a long time to go after all kinds of species of game fish, check out the Penn Battle 4. That's going to wrap up today's episode of What's New at Tackle Warehouse. For more information to purchase any of these products seen here today, please click shop or the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this week's video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, let us know in the comments which one of these products you're most excited about.